Hey, how's it going everyone? Here with the Godzilla対ガイガン 30th anniversary release, or in English, Gigan, 1972. Man, I've been excited for this release ever since I saw it at Tamashii Nations last year. So yeah, this is following the trend of 50th anniversary releases. We had Hidora set last year, which is probably my favourite MonsterArts release so far. I feel like this one is definitely going to be up there as well with my top favourites, just because that finish, ooh, it's looking good. But we'll get a closer look at that in a moment. This is a very simple release. We get Gigan, and that's it. But you know, that's the S.H MonsterArts line for you. They're definitely not known for their ample accessories, unfortunately, but that finish is looking spectacular. But this was a Tamashii web exclusive, so that's premium Bandai in Japan. Overseas, depending on where you live, your mileage may vary if it's easy to get or not. But yeah, check out your usual retailers in your country for figures, and hopefully you'll be able to get your hands on them. But he is sporting that latest itty bitty tiny Tamashii quality seal sticker. That's one way to spot a fake from legitimate figure. Though for something like this, there shouldn't really be many bootlegs out there, at least not for a while. But on the back we do have a nice selection of images showcasing the figure itself, and obviously no accessories, but you know, he can definitely strike quite a few cool poses. So yeah, anyway, let's just pop him out of the box, and then we can actually check out that you know, the finish for him. Okay, on the inside of the packaging, might be a little bit hard to see, but we do, you know, have a little bit of detail showing that the two fins on the back can move, the left and right one, so that is cool. Okay, Gigan here is spinning around, and yeah, first thing, that green, that gold, that silver, all that paint and colouring on this figure is beautiful. For his razor sharp blades there, silver down to a nice charcoal, blends into that nice forest green. Really reminds me of a British racing green. Love it. But yeah, anyway, he's also got the lovely gold scales running all the way down his spine. Wraps around to the front for those nasty, you know, saw-like blades on the front of his body. The wings as well have a lovely gold and earthy tone to them. And you know, we've got that very futuristic, you know, funky visor there as well, which does have like the texture behind, so it does look like there's a, you know, like a bug eye style effect, which is really cool. So overall, the finish on this figure definitely looks a lot more premium, and you know, it does, I feel like it at least somewhat makes up for the no accessories. But you know, it's a bit hard not to think about the what was it, Final Wars release, which had, you know, the laser beam, the chainsaws, everything like that. But you know, obviously same monster, different movie, so you know, we can't expect all those types of effects with this, you know, 72 version. But you know what, for what we do get, this one is looking beautiful though for the finish. So that is the main point that's going for this figure. But anyway, let's take him off the turntable so we can check out the articulation. So starting with the head there, we've got, what's that, about 3-4 different joints there, 1, 2, 3, 4, with the shoulder. So everything has a few millimeters of movement, so when all combined we get a nice range of motion, and everything does feel quite nice there. I mean, going forward is really nice, and then he can, you know, not, okay, a little bit of motion going back, but the spines do get in the way there, or the spikes on the back of the blades. But speaking of blades, the ones on his mouth do open and shut, which is really cool. And then again for his mouth will open and, you know, shut a little bit, not too much. I'm not really sure if it's by design or if it's just on mine, but it does feel like the mouth is a little bit more warped, and it does kind of lean a bit towards one side, and same with the tongue on the inside there. Not sure if we can move it around or not. There's a little bit of motion in the tongue there, but not too much. I think it's mostly in a fixed position. Yeah, okay, now you can move the tongue a little bit hard, but if you have something flat and thin, you can slot it in there to move the tongue slightly. But at least on mine it is leaning a little bit to the right. It does kind of lean to that kind of a derpy look, so it's not too bad. But definitely let me know in the comments below if you pick up this figure, if your mouth is the same. And you know, sometimes these figures do have a little bit of a weird issue with mouths, but you know, at least the printing of the teeth looks pretty nice, and same with the moulding of them. Okay, so moving down to the shoulder range here, we have, you know, somewhat limited range there, but we can swing all the way around for the most part, back and forward. And then there is the subtle elbow joint, not too much, but everything will twist and turn pretty freely, which is nice. I have found my joint on this side comes off quite easy, so do keep that in mind. If your joint does come off, you can just easily reattach it, but for some reason this one particular has been a little bit loose compared to the other. But in saying that, maybe I just had to pop it on properly. So okay, let me restate that. If your pops off easy, just move the joint inside a little bit, and then you should be able to pop it on properly again. Though always, if you have issues with figures with super loose joints or anything that's broken, contact your local distribution for any replacement parts. They are pretty good about that. But yeah, anyway, moving around to the back, the fins here move individually, which is really cool. Not so much up and down, just left and right, which is nice. The center one as well, everything just subtly moves, which is cool. Now for the leg here, again, pretty standard, a little bit of motion in and out, and same for forward and back on that separate outer joint there. The knee is pretty nice, we've got the double joint there, which is nice, and again everything feels smooth. Okay, moving down to the ankle, we've got a little bit of motion there, not too much, but it can tilt up and down pretty freely, which is good. So all these points combined does give you a decent range of motion. Definitely in and out is really good. For a tiny or chunky figure, he does do the splits pretty well. Now onto what's always my favourite part of the MonsterArts figures, and that is the tail. So we've got the main joint at the base of the body, followed by, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 14 or 15 individual joints throughout the whole tail, and everything does feel really nice and fluid. Oh, the tip does come off. Again, just have to be a little bit careful there. Let's pop that back on. Okay, there we go. So yeah, again, as I was mentioning, everything's really nice and fluid and looks really good with that green and gold separation, with the spikes running all the way down the back there, down to the very tip of his tail. So not too much to go over in this release. We're already at the pros and cons because, well, we only have a body to check out, and you know what? I'm loving it. I really do. Despite the fact there isn't really any accessories, and that admittedly my arm came off straight away out of the box, but once I did adjust the peg and pop it back on, I haven't had any issues. The tip of the tail joint did pop off, but that's not uncommon, and it went back on without any issues. I would rather it come off than break. And that's definitely always a a good trading point there, and overall it does hold its position without any issues. So I can definitely overlook those two little wee points that I've had so far. The mouth is a little bit soft and subtly derpy on mine, I believe, but I have pushed it around a little bit and it is looking better. It is super hot in Japan at the moment. I think it's about 38 degrees in Tokyo, so maybe being pushed in the box in the heat has subtly shifted it, and now that it's been reset and it's not as hot, I think it will hold its position correctly. So it could just be due to transportation, which will adjust over time. But that is something just to at least highlight for my release, in case it is more widespread. Let me know in the comments below when you get your figure. But yeah, anyway, besides those little nitty gritty things, overall finish top notch, love it, huge pro. only con, no real accessories, but again, you know, probably don't really need much with it. But you know, maybe a rock or explosion, something cool to go with it. We have these really cool Tamashii explosions, which I haven't released in a while. Even just a re-release of some of those could have been really cool, but I guess, you know, the finish on this, probably not the cheapest compared to other releases, so to keep prices down, I guess that is why there are no accessories. Always a shame, but you know what, I guess at the end of the day, for this res, I don't really need anything, but if there's a particular accessory you would have loved, do drop a comment and let me know. Always keen to read everyone's thoughts and opinions on the releases. But yeah, anyway, I will be taking photos of this cool figure over the next few days. I know Figure Mania shows already posted some badass photos, so go check them out. Highly recommend it. But yeah, anyway, again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, cheers!